committed to free, fair, credible elections. On behalf of the Center for Democracy and Development, I welcome you to the opening of the Election Analysis Center ahead of the 8th November Anambra gubernatorial elections. It is my honor to introduce you to our high table. In the center, our chair, Professor Victor Adesina. From the right, we have Mr. Chukwueke Mbemuripe. We also have Professor Ernest Aniche. We have Mrs. Mary Ope, Mrs. Shei Awochulube. The Election Analysis Center, or EAC, is CDD's dedicated hub for real-time analysis, fact-checking, and narrative tracking. From now until after the polls, this center will operate as an independent, non-partisan engine, monitoring information flow, identifying threats to electoral integrity, and providing grounded, data-driven insights to the public, media, and key institutions. Now, without further ado, it's my pleasure to hand over the mic to the EAC chair, Professor Victor Adesina. One round of applause, please.
Thank you very much. Once again, you are welcome to the EAC of the CDD. We are very happy to have you here because you're very important critical stakeholder in the Nigerian electoral process, and especially one unique platform assigned specific responsibility in our constitution. So your role cannot just wave aside. We all know why we are here, and the Anambra and some people have so documented it that look, it will be a test of what INEC beyond the previous performance. In order not to waste our time, we have come and based on previous reports, two key reports that we have issued, and our pre-election advanced observation and a number of other assessments will come up with a statement, which one of my colleagues, Sheyi Awoduige, will read, and after which we can have copies and also ask us questions. We will be glad to respond to. Once again, on behalf of the EAC or CDD, we welcome you. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Good afternoon, everyone. This is the first statement of the opening of the Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Press. This is the first statement for the opening of the Election Analysis Center of the Center for Democracy and Development. CDD West Africa warns of low competitiveness, voter apathy, and fragility of key electoral institutions ahead of Anambra 2025 congressional election. The Center for Democracy and Development, CDD West Africa, welcomes you to the opening of its Election Analysis Center, CTEAC, ahead of the 8th November 2025 Anambra State Governorship. This is the first off-cycle governorship election under the new INEC leadership of Professor Joash Amopiton. It is another opportunity for the 2,802,790 registered voters in the state to make their voices heard in electing the next state governor. While it is ordinarily asking to note a report of a 98.8% CVC collection rate, there is still some concern that this will not translate into a high enough voter turnout. The Center for Democracy and Development, CDD West Africa, has released two reports, Anambra 2025, a barometer of party fortunes, federal minds, and personalities, and evaluating disinformation risk ahead of the 2025 governorship election in Anambra State. Together, these reports show that this election is a decisive test of Nigeria's democratic resilience, institutional credibility, and political competitiveness. We have deployed 178 trained and accredited observers across all 21 local government areas, with our methodology targeting polling units with high volumes and a prior history of election-related issues. We have also deployed 57 grassroots monitors known as soldiers of the mouth, who will help in addressing information disorder incidents, corroborate fact checks, and help us monitor the way that parties and politicians and even members of the public engage in disinformation. Also, we have deployed 30 mandate protection observers who will spot and report any electoral irregularities to the relevant agencies. On institutional preparedness, INEC has taken steps to improve preparedness, but INEC has taken steps to improve preparation, but confidence remains fragile. The CVR process exposed logistical gaps that need to be urgently addressed. The judiciary also has a crucial responsibility. Delayed rulings and uncertainty about candidates' eligibility continue to damage public trust. A major concern in the Anambra governorship election is that the political parties have not demonstrated the capacity to mobilize and sensitize voters. The internal crisis within Nigeria's major political parties at the moment has weakened electoral competitiveness in the Anambra governorship election. On the security landscape, security threats remain a major concern in Hiala, Nnewi South, Olumba South, and border communities such as Ilu, Azia, and Amoka. Weak oversight of vigilante groups and the long-standing violent environment contribute to a low risk of voter turnout. Security agencies must act professionally and protect voters without bias. On incumbency and federal might, APGA and the incumbent governor benefit from visibility advantages, new strategic political alliance, and control of state influence channels. The Anambra State Signage and Advertisement Agency announced on June 11, 2025, that it had set a permit fee of 15 million for political parties wishing to use billboards and conduct other outdoor campaign activities. This limits access for different political parties and increases the cost of campaigns, which are capped at 1 billion naira under Section 88, subsection 2 of the 2022 Electoral Act. On the information ecosystem, based on the extensive information ecosystem assessments conducted in the state, CDD West Africa has highlighted with great attention that information disorder is a major threat to the success of this election. Findings from this assessment revealed unequal access to information among the population, gender-specific vulnerabilities and inadequate stakeholder preparedness, and persistent electoral risk. These factors have collectively enabled the widespread circulation of disinformation, and hate speech. Specifically, 7 dominant patterns of information manipulation were identified. 1. Targeting of security institutions with partisan bias claims. 2. Exploitation of religious divides. 3. manipulation of political endorsement narratives. Defense and preparedness. 7. Gender hate speech and violence campaigns aimed at discouraging women's participation in politics. In response, CDG West Africa rolled out multiple interventions to mitigate issues. These include capacity building sessions for stakeholders on identifying and countering information disorders, as well as engaging content creators across the state who are taking the fight against misinformation, disinformation, and hate speech to social media. Representation of women, youth, and persons with disability. Exclusion still persists. Only 2 women are contested, both from minor parties. Youth enthusiasm is high, but generational leadership gap remains. There are no persons with disability candidates, and polling unit accessibility remains weak. CDD West Africa calls for INEC to to maintain neutrality and ensure seamless electoral processes, such as the timely deployment of voting materials and smooth functioning of vehicles and highway, for security agencies to protect citizens without intimidation or selective enforcement, for civil society and media to amplify factual information and support inclusive participation, and for citizens to come out and exercise their democratic right to vote. With the CDD Election Analysis Center now fully operational, our disinformation experts will be working throughout the period to monitor, fact check, and respond to emerging narratives. Citizens are encouraged to report suspicious content to our WhatsApp helpline at 07041502898. The 2025 Anambra governorship election is more than a subnational election. CDD West Africa calls on all actors to prioritize national interest, protect democratic integrity, and ensure a peaceful, credible, and inclusive election. Signed, Darba, Dr. Darba Dauda, for CDD West Africa, and Professor Victor Nicola, Chair of the CDD Election Analysis Center. Thank you.
One round of applause. Thank you very much, Mrs. Shay Awojude, for reading that statement and setting the tone for our engagement with the press. On that note, we'll throw to the floor. Are there any questions from the press for our analysts?
You have had us in terms of what we have done and what we are going to do. So if you have questions or intervention requiring further clarification, we want to take that and respond to it.
Thank you very much, Coach. My name is Frank Oloko. I work with Arise News. One of the fears that has very increased people, stakeholders in the election management and conduct is the fact that Anambra State is weak on the negative side in terms of voter apathy. Who are you wearing? In terms of voter apathy, I don't know if there are fears in terms of people coming out to vote, even though we are told that security wise the narratives are already changing.
Am I correct?
Are you the one answering?
Statistically, historically, there are has been voter apathy in Anambra election. In 2021, those about 10% voter turnout. And my fear is that the trend may continue for some reasons we have already identified, which is issues of elimination of voter confidence in the electoral process and institutions. And especially after the 2023, the follow-up of 2023 elections, and also the fact that it appears that there is no clear context in this particular election, which also impinge on the ability of the political parties to mobilize the voters. Thank you.
Just like my colleague has said, and if you get copies of all our statements, they have reason, especially not to scale up confidence in the electoral process. At another program this morning, a similar question came up, and I said that if you have been beaten black blue by a mad person, and you see a mechanic dressed in his outfit walking towards you, you start running away. And given that some of the key institutions, like Prof said, that has the responsibility to change the narrative, to do the education, to sensitize not only party members, but the electorate. They have failed in that, but have resorted to other means of affecting the judgment of the people. Now, the people also are getting more reasonable. And the question is that, would they want to risk their life? And you know, our report identified so many risks, actual and potential. So you find that citizens are weighing these risks as they make decisions whether to do or not to do. But with the short time still remaining, we do hope that the critical players in the political space in Anambra State, will let the people do the right thing and at the right time. Another question.
No, keep them bumble. No, I'm a good person.
I have a question. Thank you. My name is David Chideleke. I work for this newspaper as a number correspondent. CDD West Africa is a foremost democracy protection body that some of us know. And I am thinking that your views count a lot. We have talked about vote buying, and we also know of the viral video of the governor pledging to give money to certain persons in his party if they turn out for election. They have tried to argue a lot about that. Some people understood it not to be vote buying, others think it is still vote buying. But I want to ask you, as CDD, if you think helping members of your party to come out en masse and vote in the election amounts to vote buying. Another is an appeal I want to make that you ensure that the text you have read get to us, especially some of us in the print, it will be useful to us. Thank you.
Right away on that last question, the documents are available, and before you leave here, you have copies.
Thank you. I am Princess Avery Ajida of the Anambra Broadcasting Service. From your data made available to us, we know that in some communities and local governments, there are more fatalities and incidences. And I'd like to ask, Does this mean that while going out tomorrow, we need to watch our backs in those communities? Or is there something that we should know that we don't know already? And earlier, I requested for the soft copies of all these data if it's available. Thank you. Are you one of them?
Is that all, or want to take one more? In addition?
Okay, let me add to one of the questions. Okay.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Vincent Sokoshi. I report for Quality TV. So I want to ask, as civil society organizations, can you tell us how far you've really sensitized the people of Anambra when it comes to this election? How can you rate their acceptance or their response to the election? Hoping to be held tomorrow. Thank you.
Hoping to. Are you trying to say it's not going to be held tomorrow?
Oh, sorry.
You still want to add?
She wants to correct.
Let me correct the hoping to. So, how do you assess the election that will be coming up tomorrow?
That will be held tomorrow. That is it.
She wants us to assess the election that will be coming.
No, the level of acceptance by the citizens.
And so one house, I interpret that to mean she wants to know
Of acceptance,
preparedness.
the preparedness, and
the future acceptance of preparedness.
both the citizens and the observers, like you.
Well, at the level of observer monitors, you can see how prepared we are. I think in the past 1.5 hours, about 4 situation rooms have given reports about what they have observed so far and what they have analyzed. In our reports, we also draw attention to the level of preparedness of the critical institutions. And we say that things are still hanging. We still expect so much. And I will use that to key into the question about the data and the analysis. The analysis and the data is not meant to create fear.
Okay.
Rather, is to alert agencies, institutions responsible to heed what, if you look at the caption of our statement, it's like warning them that, look, we are flashing it out. So it's not to create fear, but to draw attention that there are places where you have to look out for security agency. If it will require doubling your effort in that area, you have to do that. I think the more watchful, that's what we are talking about with respect to that. Another question was raised on job security.
He has gone. The person that asked the question has gone.
Oh, he's here.
Also, we can
Where is he?
let go.
Then he should remind us his question.
What's the question?
That's the wisdom.
What is the question?
Goodbye.
Goodbye. I was talking about goodbye.
Okay.
What you think of what the governor, the proxy the governor is starting there.
Again, since you have asked for our report, we mentioned both buying within the context of irregular use of resources for political and election-related purposes. It's one thing to identify it. It's another thing for those alleged to be using that to come up with defense. the constitution, the electoral law, electoral guideline is very clear on what constitutes vote buying. But you know how smart our politicians are. They can use other means to redefine this, to redefine that. And at another instance, they were calling it Dibo Co-Seben. That means vote and be able to cook soup. So you can just imagine that. And the responsibility to put this on the check is for everybody. We have said that repeatedly, and in the past 4 years that I've been involved, that one of the problems we have in this society is our politicians. That if we have them have a change of attitude, at least we'll be more than 70% up in our performance. But how that will happen is the responsibility of all of us. When you see evil, don't keep quiet. Report it. There was a particular year that I think that they had the line, special line, dedicated line for reporting such cases. With respect to us, we have spoken that if you see any misuse of information, we even went ahead to give a dedicated line you can call about this. I think it also applies in the case where you see some of this. If you cannot approach the necessary agency, we also will do that on your behalf. Thank you.
For those of us going live, can you call out the numbers for citizens to
Situation reports.
also report any incident in their units?
Our number, our WhatsApp.
The dedicated lines that they can reach out to.
We have the line in the report, but if you want me to read it out again,
Yes, please.
we call it helpline 070 4150 2298. 070 4150 2298.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you everyone for those questions and engagements. The insights, the curiosity, and the scrutiny you bring are part of what makes democracy, this democratic process stronger. And thank you again to our ACTS for graciously answering your variety of questions. As we now transition, the Election Analysis Center will fully proceed into operations. Our analysts will continue tracking narratives, verifying claims, and sharing evidence-based updates throughout the election process. We encourage you to stay connected with us and help ensure verified information reaches the public faster than false narratives. Once again, on behalf of the Center for Democracy and Development, I want to thank everyone here present, the media, our partners, observers, colleagues, and citizens following us. My name is Fergus Lukman, and with this, we officially conclude our opening briefing and formally keep the EAC into full swing. Thank you, everyone.